Call the meeting to order. This is the Monument and Cemetery Commission. Today is Monday, September 16th, 2019, 4 p.m., City Hall. All of you should have received your packets. It looks like we have kind of a busy schedule of items. But before we get into the meat of the agenda, there's a couple of housekeeping items that need to be taken care of first. And the first one is the election of the chair for this commission. I think that needs to be done, annually? Kim? So we're open for nominations for chairman of the commission.
I nominate Mr. Ubel.
I second it.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? None being given. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Second item, vice chair.
Nominate Tom.
Here, a second?
Can I second that motion?
Any other nominations? Any other nominations for vice chair? Third call. Any other nominations? None being given? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we can get into the meat of the agenda. Minutes of the last meeting, which was June 17th, 2019. Any additions or corrections? Kurt, how is the progress coming on the new columbarium? Anything?
There isn't any.
There isn't any. No progress.
Supposedly they were down here, 3 weeks ago, Glenn?
Yeah.
They had finally found a contractor. That's been the holdup.
Okay.
It was supposed to have been built in July, August, and now they're claiming September. But there was a contractor down. I looked at it, so they say they've got a contractor hired. It's supposed to start any day now. So
And what's the timeline, do you think, for completion?
it won't be, if they get here and get the foundation poured, they'll have it up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, good.
So it's getting the
So
foundation.
it doesn't take really that long to,
Once the foundation
once
is
the
poured and
foundation's
set.
in.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Move to accept the minutes.
Okay.
second.
Motion made to accept the minutes and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Columbarium pricing. Kurt?
What I've proposed is on the new columbarium going up, I did a 4% increase over the next 10 years to figure out what it's going to cost.
4% per year?
And that was the curriculum for the first one, was to raise enough money to pay for the second one. So that's what I did with the second one, is raised it 4% a year, projected it out 10 years. So if we price all 224 niches at $826, that will come out exactly at 4% per year at 10 years. Now, there was question about, do we finish selling out the old one before we open the new one? If you leave the prices of the old one where they're at,
Which is,
Depending on what row they're anywhere from 7.75 to 8.25 for the ones that are left.
Okay,
They would be cheaper than the new one. And I propose the new one is a straight above the board pricing. They're all, I would suggest, priced the same.
no matter what row,
No matter what row where they're at, they're all the
I
same.
agree, yeah.
So if we did that, left the pricing of the old columbariums where they're at, there would be incentive to fill out the old one because they would be a little bit cheaper than the new ones.
Mhm.
So-
I agree, yeah.
So the question is, how close to 826 would you like to set the prices for the new one?
And
know,
we have a suggested price here of $850.
Yes, that was what we came up with. But that's our suggestion. It's like, say, 826 is the break-even price at 4% a year.
Yep.
So,
I agree. I really do think that, you know, if we just leave the prices as is for the current ones without opening up the new one, and then open up the new one when it's complete,
right.
you know, I don't think it's gonna take long to sell the niches from the existing ones.
No, and if you,
How many are left, Kurt, in the existing ones, do you know about?
55-ish, somewhere
Oh,
in that
okay.
ballpark.
That's not that many, okay.
No. And the other part of this equation is if you price it at the 850, there's really no reason to address the niche prices unless something drastically
Mhm.
happens, like you sell it out in 3 years and, you know,
Right,
or we're not selling them and it's gonna be 15 years down the road. You know, if it stays on track to be a 10-year replacement, we should be at that price at 850
yep,
and have some breathing room.
yep. I
That-
agree,
That's my train
I
of thought.
agree. Any other thoughts, anyone? Hey, Dave.
Why are the new ones more expensive than the old ones? Why don't you just charge the same for everything?
We can, but then there's no incentive to fill the old one. But that is definitely an option if you'd like to. You certainly can.
Could it be argued too that the new one cost more to build and therefore you would have to charge a little bit more?
Well, it is, yeah.
Okay. So that's probably why the reasoning behind that is because it did cost more.
You know, we had to borrow about 20,000 from the city to put up the second one, and the only reason was we had about 60 niches left to sell on the old one. If the old one would have been completely sold out, we'd had the funds. But now, taking those 60 from the first one, if we sell all but 60 of the second one, there should be ample cash on hand to do.
There's a cushion there then.
Yes.
Yep.
But that is an option if that's what you would like to do.
I'm gonna recommend that we go with Kurt's suggestion and charge $850 per niche for the new columbarium, no matter what row is selected, and keep the current prices for the present columbarium prices for the niches.
Second the motion?
Do you
Any-
need a second, or was that it?
That was it. The motion and second. Any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Cemetery fee schedule. Kurt?
I recommend, raised everything last year, so the only thing to address was the niches, which we just did, so is leave it as is my recommendation for 2020,
Okay.
the rest of them.
I move to accept his recommendation.
A second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You have in front of you a list of the recommendations for the name to be considered for the memorial section in memory of garden, or whatever name you suggest or want to use. Anybody have a preference?
I don't like number 5.
I don't either. not a park.
No,
it's,
that's a
it's,
ball field.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
And you've been going mostly with all our information we've been receiving, we've been using what, in memory of?
In general.
That's in general.
Just
That's what we've been calling it, but that's
Yeah,
what else you call it
I know.
thing.
Memory garden, memorial garden, I don't know. What are your, anybody have a preference? Or any other name
It's
that you can
page
come up
18.
with?
I'll vote for number 1.
Garden of Memories?
Correct.
I'd be in on that one too.
Garden of Memories? Any other preference?
Is it 8?
18.
Maybe you want to make that as a motion?
I will motion that we name the memorial section Garden of Memories.
Second to motion.
Any further discussion, suggestions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The name is Garden of Memories. The memorial section, then, we have the cemetery rules and regulations that were given to us, that were made up. Where is, I'm still confused, I guess, where the section is.
Right when you come in that double drive, going down the avenue and that double drive to
What-
your
where-
right,
Is it near the new map,
it's south of there.
south of the
It's
map?
straight south of there where that double drive is, that double road.
Okay, all right,
There's some arborvitae's in, and there's a little grassy area that way.
Straight off the double drive.
Straight off the double drive.
okay,
Because when you turn in there, it's Knutson and Weniger Stones on your left-hand
Yes,
side. It's
yeah.
right across the road, straight in.
okay.
They figure we'll have a little sign made up and can put it out there and it's marked.
Okay. Have we discussed at all? I don't know if there are any regulations in here on the size of the markers that can be placed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there? I know the amount of cremains is given.
Yeah. And the size was in there too. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, where I didn't
Larger
see
than-
the size, so the markers that can be placed.
I think it's 12 by 20.
So
What are you thinking, Glenn?
What did we have? So with the washout, I think it's 20 by 32 with the 4-inch washer around them.
A single marker shall not exceed 12 by 24 in size and shall have a 4-inch collar.
Yep.
there you go.
Okay, that's it, all
That's
right.
it.
Can you think of anything else that should be included in the rules and regs for this area?
Is there a legal team that kind of goes over this too, or not?
It'll go to the city attorney for their approval once
will.
you guys
Okay,
approve it.
So if they find anything in the legal language that isn't up to snuff, then they could take care of it at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I move to accept the report, or the rules, I'm sorry.
rules and regs for the area. The memory garden. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the general rules and regulations for the memory area. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. The next item under new business, the installation of a metal portrait of Christian Prignitz on the power plant building. I'm still, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I'm still a little confused as to why our commission is looking at it, but,
The city council considers it a monument. And for
Okay.
some reason, they want your opinion on what you think of the concept. I tried to get a more definite answer.
none, okay? Because I'm reading from the city code here, section 3.26, which reflects the duties of the Monument and Cemetery Commission as it pertains to existing monuments by use of the words preservation, maintenance, and enhancement of the city monuments. However, there is a subdivision 1 under that section, which pertains to new statues or monuments. And I guess if the city is considering this a monument, then it pertains to us.
That's council's,
And I think that's what their thinking is.
that's correct.
And I see Denny Warda is here, so maybe he can enlighten us on this project.
Thank you very much for your time. About enlightening, I don't know if I can do that. But I do know that the Park and Rec people didn't think it necessary to come to this commission, and that's why I went directly to the PUC and then to the council. And it was the city attorney who pretty much made the interpretation that I need to go to the Monuments and Cemetery Commission. And I think it had to do with, I had mentioned something about a potential camera sometime, and there is no camera as part of this plan. That is up to the Park and Rec Commission. But placing a camera on this work of art sometime might be a worthy consideration, but it is not part of my plan. As you can see from the 1947 quotation in the New Ulm paper, someday when pioneers of the city are honored, someone is going to remember Christian Prignitz, and his resting place will be marked with a monument as an appropriate tribute to a great man who visioned a New Ulm even larger and more delightful than the present city. And currently, there is that marker out at the cemetery, and that is the only marker that this man has at the moment. Other than one placed there about 10 years ago in German Park as one of the footstones under the pergola. It doesn't give a lot of details, but it certainly is not significant enough to honor the man whose very design is what we're leaving with today, and it's unbelievably beautiful and perfect. And with the challenges that our city, and every city our size is going to be facing down the road in attracting workers, I think anything we can do to beautify the city and also at the same time to educate as to why we have what we have is going to be a very important part of our future. What I propose is a metal plaque. I can see it on a chair here. That's a miniature of it. The final product will be 8 feet wide by approximately 10 feet tall, pure aluminum, cut out with laser, and the backing will be a composite that has an expected life of 80 years. The composite is a dark brown color to contrast with the silver look of the aluminum. And underneath the portrait itself will be his signature, Christian Prignitz. There will be a LED light that is going to be activated by a sensor. It will illuminate it from darkness to morning. And in a sense, it will be overlooking part of his creation, which is German Park. The people who I had here from the state Art and Culture Division, when I showed them this idea, they were very impressed. They said, do it. It's going to be very unique. And so I'm counting on some funding from some charitable organizations, but it will not be of any cost to the city, nor should there be any maintenance cost.
What is the cost gonna be, Denny, do you think?
It's going to be less than $10,000.
To
That-
make it and install it?
That would be it. That's including the installation.
And the city would install it?
No, the project will install it. There was no cost to the city.
Nothing.
The signage that you're looking at putting in the one pavilion is included in that too?
Yes, and there will be, I wish I could adjust this here. This is a view from inside the pavilion. Those columns, I'm proposing putting some signs like are already down in German Park with an explanation of who this man is and why he's there. And so it will be illuminated at night as the pavilion is. And so it'll give the explanation as to who this man is. That's also part of the project budget.
Kind of a timeline are you looking at, Jenny?
Well, we may be too late for this year, so it probably would be in the spring. There's no question that having a portrait like this overlooking that park is going to be quite impressive.
Well, I like the fact that there's no cost to the city. I mean, that's always a good thing.
Maintenance?
There should be next to none, yeah.
With the products that they're using, yeah.
The only other one would be the lighting, I guess, the,
Well, the LED lights, they told me, should last for 20 years. So we might have to change light bulbs in 20 years.
You're probably still gonna be the president.
yeah.
Lucky guy.
And my,
I also was asked at the council by someone, is there any debris that comes off the cooler and that area? And there is on occasion, but it's never even been enough to wipe a seal, so it should not be a problem. The gentleman in charge of the public utilities took me up to view the site, and he's all excited about it.
who's gonna do the artwork, Denny?
Arnie Little from Good Thunder. He's the same man who did the cutouts for our heritage tree. Very talented. He did some work for us at Herman as well.
Okay.
He's a very expert laser cutter with computer-assisted design.
Any other questions of Mr. Warda? What are your wishes?
I like it.
I do too.
I really do.
It's got the approval of the Park and the Public Utilities Commission and also the Park and Rec Commission, so you have talked to them as well.
Did they approve it?
That's what it says here.
Yeah.
Everybody has it, it's come across, yes.
I see no reason why we wouldn't approve it as well.
I don't either.
So move to approve.
Second?
Motion been made and seconded to approve the request to install a metal portrait and signature of Christian Prignitz to the north side of the power plant building facing German Park, as proposed by Mr. Warda. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you
Danny.
very much.
Yeah.
On this screen here, you can see he's to the right of that tower. And the left half of that tower is backed up by brick, so we have to move it to that side. But then the advantage is there's a window there.
Save room for mine.
Thank you very much.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Dan.
It's enough room for me up there. Any further business? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.